Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast, a weekly live show where we explore the power of culture and leadership in business. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers, and we go live every week to learn from each other and hear from other experts about how to effectively champion our team members and ourselves. So join us live every Wednesday on our social networks or subscribe. You can listen to Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Now, let's champion your culture.
Hey, yo, what's going on? We are back again.
Oh, you want me to do the rest?
Culture's back. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Yeah. We're back. But we're in different places, so I'm actually not in the studio. George, where are you at?
Hey, I am coming to you live from I'm going to call it turbulence. All right, so there's a story to the situation.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, turbulence of Nevada. So I am here live in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nice.
Where I can't tell you what happened yesterday because I will break the curse. I will break the rule, right? Because what happens in Vegas stays in it.
Yeah, some things follow you home.
Some things follow you. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me home, right?
I don't know about that. We would hope so.
I hope so. So, I've been up. So this is the problem about Vegas. I am, and this is, I won't call, let's do this, right? I'll be honest. I'm not going to blame Vegas. I'm going to blame me. This is the moment where I got to be honest. Yeah. I have a problem with lights. Where there are lights, my eyes are open, right?
Like raccoon with gold.
Yeah. So the lights are up, the lights are on. I have to be alive. I am there. Like I am one with the sun, right? And so Vegas is like the one area. New York is another place, right? New York is the same. That when the lights are on, like I feel like there's something for me to do. There's a reason why the lights are on. And I struggle. So you can't see it behind me. But I specifically asked, I said, listen, I don't want to see the city. I've seen the Strip. I don't want to see lights. I want to see nothing but like a garage.
I don't want to know anything is going on at all.
Like when I get to my room and I wake up or I get back and I look out the window and I'm like, oh, let me see the beauty of outside. I want to see the worst situation ever that says, George, go to bed. So that's what I got. I literally have
just
1990 outdoor situation of what Vegas was and currently obviously is because I see nothing but the roof.
The roof with all the air conditioned units and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You asked for strategic view.
Yeah, I asked for somebody that has a career. Fun, everything attended. This is what I see out here is a job or a career for somebody.
This is not a calling.
Not a calling. I'll say this: if your calling is my view, God bless you.
Yes.
Because it's not a sight to be seen at all. It's not what you come to Vegas to see, but I am coming to you live from Las Vegas. I'm here with Lighthouse Research and Advisory, our partner, when it comes to all things data and analysis and research. Ben Eubanks and I are out here at the Unleash Conference, Unleash HR Conference. And so if you're here, make sure you reach out to me. I would love to see you today and or tomorrow. I'll be live on the talent stage tomorrow. Ryan, they entrusted me with the whole stage, the talent stage. There's about 2,000-3,000 people here, and so tomorrow from 11 to 2:30, I'll be on this talent stage, running all that, and I'm excited about it as well.
My goodness, man, that's so awesome, dude. I mean, I know everybody there is going to be so amazed and blown away just by you showing up, man. Your presence and who you are and everything is just awesome, man. So I'm excited.
Hey, you speak so kindly of me, man. I appreciate your
Everybody knows it, and you do too, man. When you look in the mirror, I know every time you do, there's a little bit of a smile that comes on. Hey, as much as everybody loves you, you better love yourself, man.
Hey. So this is a situation. Let me teach you something. So,
Yes.
when I was younger, dude, I wasn't always as handsome as I think I am today.
I can testify to that. I don't think it was thinking. I think there was a lot of growing up to do.
Hey, I didn't look as good as I once did, but I look good as I once was.
Yeah.
But and so with that, I always grew up realizing that I gotta love myself, right?
Yes.
Because I'm ugly.
Right.
And one thing about being ugly
Come
is
on, man. You wasn't
UGLY.
ugly. You were cute ugly.
I was cute ugly. I appreciate that.
You wasn't even that, man. You know you wasn't that, man. You just trying to make up stories.
But the truth is, though, is that you know what ugly stands for, right?
No, what is it?
UGLY.
Yes.
Ugly. You gotta love yourself.
Hey, if you ugly, you gotta love yourself. You right about that, man. That's awesome.
There you go. There you go.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you everyone for jumping on. You're learning a lot today. So any of our audience out there that you look in the mirror and you're like, my God, I'm kind of ugly today. Just remember, you got to love yourself.
There you go. Hey, if nobody else will, you got to love yourself.
But as George said, he's there with Lighthouse Research. And we're excited about the partnership we have with them. Obviously, the partnership that we have and the sponsorship with Culture of Good every single week, backing this up, continue to support. Remember, Culture of Good offers keynotes, workshops, and everything culture and leadership development. So if you look at your company and you say, you know what, we need stronger, more confident, assertive leaders that take ownership of the culture and the business, get a hold of us. We love doing that kind of work. We have some really amazing organizations.
So I don't know if it's just my side or if I lost connection with Ryan. Hey, but this is what you get, ladies and gentlemen, when you go live. And so I know Ryan's going to jump back on with us here in a second. But today, some of the things I'm excited about as we're going forward on this area, and we're running into some of those technical difficulties. And I think Ryan's joining back with us. But we are going to be all things talking about building a culture and really talking about your job, your career, and your calling. Ryan, I'm glad. So I thought at first, I was like, man, this Vegas internet is great, but I'm glad it was you, man. I'm glad that wherever you're coming from the dungeon to Pungeon,
it does look like I'm in a dungeon, doesn't it?
Like I was in Honduras again, and I'll go on everybody.
Sorry about that, everyone. Technology, when we do go live, it's just one of those things. So we do really appreciate it. George, you did give the introduction to our conversation today on job, career, and calling. And so do we want to jump right into that?
Let's go right into it. Let's talk a little bit about because I think we've all had that situation, right? When we're younger in life, we find a job, right? For many reasons. You got to pay bills, or you're trying to get yourself out of the house, away from family, friends, and you want your own money. You're restricted, right? You find a job. It's just something for you to do to be able to provide means, right? It's that, hey, let's put something on the resume. Let's really find something that is kind of the foundation of what things are all about, right? What's your take on the job portion, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say that in a really easy way of describing job, career, and calling, if you only go to work to make money, you have a job. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the basic level. When you're younger, this is what every parent wants their young adult to get so they can move out of the house, right? So like you want to make sure
yeah,
everybody's got a job in the house, because the job's going to provide what? Shelter, food, basic necessities. So a job, if you're going to work to make money and that's solely what you go for, that's a job. If your work gives you long-term stability, you gain a sense of identity through it, a sense of you're seeing your life progress, right? There's more stability, you have a career. That's what a career is, right? So you've gone beyond just I'm coming for a paycheck. I really need more stability, identity within this. It's more of a long-term commitment from you and also from your employer. But if your work provides you with meaningful contributions beyond yourself, then you have a calling. So let's just kind of think about it, kind of lay the foundation in terms of job is all about money, career is all about stability and identity, and then your calling is all about meaningful contributions beyond you, right? So job and career, a lot of the focus is going to be on what do I get out of this? And a calling starts with or continues with the question, not only what am I going to get out of this, but a calling doesn't only ask that. It also asks, and what meaningful contribution can I provide or can I give, right? What is this giving me in terms of opportunity to care about others and not just myself, right? So
yeah,
job and career is all focused on me. Calling is focused on me and others.
yeah,
Career, I think, has elements of that as well, right? But calling, when you have that calling, you're intentional about that meaningful, fulfilling. Is my work giving me a sense of fulfillment, meaning in life? Because that then is a sense of calling where you're compelled to do something because it brings you life, it brings you joy, it still provides you something, but in
yeah,
the impact portion of it, the impact doesn't just fall on you, but the impact also has this ripple effect. Calling is like throwing a massive rock in the middle of a pond and watching the ripples go out, you know,
yeah,
and seeing the impact of the surface of the water move. That's what happens when you have someone that has a sense of calling, you bring them into the workplace. That ripple effect of that sense of calling has an impact on everybody around them, right? Because
yeah,
it's transformational. Again, it's not transactional where we're just thinking about what do I get out of this? I'm going to give you something if I get something. Calling says I'm going to give you something.
yeah,
And from that, then the side effect, in a sense, or the after effect of giving, we have that opportunity then also to receive even more, because as we give, we receive, right? So as we're vulnerable as a leader, we get vulnerability in our workplace. As we trust people more as a leader, we receive more trust from others, right? That's why this sense of calling has an amazing, profound impact on people when they recognize I don't have to just go to work for a paycheck. You know,
yeah,
I think so many people are just kind of lost in the in life and just doing the everyday stuff. And we think about business professionals, especially, you know, we can get into just the everyday whirlwind of task and checking the box and getting what I need to get done. Calling is what keeps asking that damn question we can't get past all the time at Champion Your Culture. And that is, why are you doing it?
yeah.
Not just what do you have to get done, but why are you doing it? And when you have a sense of calling, it goes beyond it. Like you don't allow your what to ever outdo your why, you know?
Yeah,
But when
it's
it's easy to
yeah,
fall into that trap, you know?
yeah, yeah. For me, it's really finding and discovering your purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in that process of really discovering the unique reason for being right? That sense of meaning and direction in your life, you found it, right? So I'm not just going to this job to provide financial benefits. I'm not just going to something that I, went to school for, or trade association, or this is my career. My calling is something beyond that. It's that next step where I've discovered not only who I am, but who I want to be and where I'm going with those things, right? And so I've on that personal journey that really involved exploring, my personal values, my personal passions, and talents. It really, really aligns to identify what truly matters to me as an individual, what I'm meant to do in the world, right? I'm excited about this because it's not something that I have to do. My calling is something that I've chose to do because of something that's moved me. I think about, what I feel like my calling is, my purpose is, right? When I'm thinking about calling, Ryan, personally, I'm thinking about purpose. Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? When I think about this podcast, what's my purpose? What's my calling?
Right. What's the purpose of this podcast? Yeah.
And so some people might find their calling through, like you said, their career or vocation.
Absolutely.
While others might find it through volunteering or some type of creative pursuit or personal relationship, whatever forms it takes. Your calling is something that gives you a life and a sense of, like you said, direction and fulfillment, and helps you to make, a more meaningful contribution to the world around you. It's that inner that becomes what's in me now becomes out of me, that produces what I'm called to do. It's that thing, right?
Yeah. By the way, George, mention, give a little plug here, because you've got a book coming out soon, and I know it's not coming out yet, but it has everything to do with this idea of living a purposeful and working with this sense of deeper meaning and purpose and leading yourself well. So mention it, man. Go ahead and plug.
Yeah, I appreciate this. So coming out in June. June, the date is June 8th. So it's going to be a Thursday, June 8th. I know that there's potential for the Kindle, you'd be able to download a little bit earlier, but June 8th, Champion Your Purpose.
Champion Your Purpose.
Really learn that aspect of really discovering your purpose and the leadership aspect of it, and what it means to really champion your purpose. First, you got to be able to champion you, right? So that self-leadership aspect and really becoming having that victorious mindset and what it really takes. And so this is just a basic, practical way to really become one with yourself, but also finding that meaning of purpose and really championing that. So June 8th, that's the target for the launch, man. Champion Your Purpose.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Weird by me.
By you, by George. I'm gonna walk into a store and be like, "Is that the George Rogers I know?" Long story. That's how George and I reconnected, man.
So it's important. So to really figure out, one of the things I feel like is important is to really note that finding your purpose is not a one-time event. Finding your calling, right? You discovering those things. Sometimes for me, my calling, what I thought I was called to do 10 years ago looks different today. It looks different. But in a sense, it's still the same, right? It looks different based on where I'm doing my calling, right? I'm now traveling around the world. I'm more in the corporate field, but really champion people. So if you say, George, what's your calling? My calling is really to champion people, right? If I was to put it in 2 words, it's to champion people. It's an ongoing journey. As I continue to grow and change throughout my own personal life, my calling evolves, it shifts. And so understanding that those things can change, I think it's important for people to understand, because if you're in the face of, George, I thought my calling was this, but now I'm doing that. What does it look like? Sometimes it can evolve, and sometimes it's necessarily quickly. Some things change, right? You adapt, but it may require you to be patient. Self-reflection is a huge thing that I had to go through to really understand, what changed in my job career and now my calling, and that willingness to really try, Ryan, to do new things and take that risk, and find that, big risk equals big rewards, little risk equals little rewards. And so finding that calling, that is really immeasurable, can lead to a life that's really meaningful, that's full of purpose, but most importantly, the joy that I found in understanding my true calling, right? Not what I thought it was. My true calling's never changed. It looks different based on where I do what I'm called to do.
Yeah, I think it evolves because as humans we evolve, our needs evolve, right? In just a moment, we'll be back after this short segment to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that idea of, as I evolve as a human being, I'm evolving as an employee, I'm evolving as an employer. My needs are changing, they're evolving because of that. My values are changing. What I need to prioritize changes. So it's almost as if we don't find our calling or find our purpose. It's almost as if we realize it as we take action, as we choose to be intentional, right? That's what I'm hearing from you. It's not like you're walking along one day and your purpose is sitting in the middle of the sidewalk and you trip over it and you turn around and you say, oh my God, I think I found it. It doesn't work that way. So we don't really, finding your purpose, finding your calling really doesn't equate well to how it really happens. How it really happens is around realization. So we'll be back with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. However, first we're going to do a segment called Craziest Shit in HR. Let's go and watch this. Okay. So question came up on Reddit. I thought this was great. This question here on the left: for hybrid people, do you terminate in person or remotely? Now that many companies are doing a hybrid home office model, I was wondering if my HR colleagues are doing terminations in purpose or via phone or video on off days. So what happens when they're away, or whether they're in the office? And the hookah 100 on Reddit said, bring everyone into the office, line them up, and say, everyone who still has a job here, please take 2 steps forward. Then, not so fast, Steve. They said, it's collaborative, and I'm sure Steve won't mind.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, but Fapkins said, what a progressive approach to HR. and then Sofa Cat said, this is the way. So if you've ever looked for a way to terminate hybrid people, just bring them into the office and do the old American Idol, line them up like the Survivor show, and let them know that Steve needs to stand still and not take a step forward. And that, my friends, is crazy as shit.
Man.
What do you think about that, George?
Yeah, I'm thinking about never doing a Zoom call with the CEO.
I know, because there's really no good answer to that.
With you virtually, and it's not a normal thing. Here's your sign, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't heard from your director in over 2 months, here's your sign.
and they if your boss has quiet quitted on you,
here's your sign.
If your manager is ghosting you, and all of a sudden wants to meet, absolutely. So when we think about, that is a good question, though. I'm not really sure if anyone out there that's listening has a good answer to that. How do you terminate hybrid employees? Do you call them into the office? Because some employees will say, they didn't even respect me enough to call me in the office and tell it to my face. And then others would say, You mean you called me all the way and made me drive into this office just to
and get
embarrass
up.
me and let me go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
let me
what do
finish
you
the shift.
do?
Yeah. When is the right time to do the right thing, even if it feels wrong for that person? And I'll say this, Ryan. This is a sensitive subject, and I think, my heart. I send. I have a large amount of compassion and empathy for those people in HR that have to make these type of decisions, because
Yeah,
the
for
next thing
sure.
they have to do afterwards is work. They got to go to work as
Yeah.
if they didn't just put an end to
Yeah.
somebody's provision, essentially, for the family.
And
And
as a
so,
HR professional, try to be connected and have relationship and
yeah,
friendships.
yeah,
So you really can't even go into that space with people. So
yeah,
you're always guarded. Yeah, I mean, for sure.
yeah. Like,
It's a
it's
tricky
okay.
one.
It's okay if you're in HR and you have to let somebody go, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, to not be okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. Like, for you to
Yeah.
have a little empathy in that situation.
Yep, absolutely. So, one of the things I would make a suggestion is if you do have hybrid employees, most of the time, 99% of the time, unless you have it very decentralized culture, which in that sense, if you never see those employees, then it would be appropriate then to terminate potentially on a phone call or a Zoom or something of that nature, because that's the nature of how you communicate.
Yeah,
But if you have the opportunity while someone is in the office to do it discreetly and to give them the opportunity face to face, I think that is a more a more empathetic approach
yeah,
to termination. Because some of that, the reality is there are times that you're going to need to terminate based on other circumstances where it doesn't warrant time, where you can wait for someone to be in, whatever it is. So good luck with that. There's all kinds of different options. Love to hear your ideas around that. If you can share that, if you're listening. Very quickly, I wanted to look at this though, George, because when we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if anyone took a psychology class in school, you'd remember this. Let's think about this in terms of job, career, calling. I think about job at the very base level of how we enter into the workforce. We don't enter in all the time with, "Ooh, I've got this great sense of calling. 18 years old and I'm going to go for it." Like a
right,
lot of
right.
times it's going to be at that, I need food, I need water, I need air, I need rest, I need shelter, I need a job, right? A job. Security, stability. Notice this is what's interesting to me. As we continue to go further, deeper, I would say deeper. I don't even know if it's if this should be a pyramid. I think it really should be a way of saying, as I go deeper into who I am, I'm desiring that security and stability. Notice the things that we were talking about goes from job and shifts into career, into calling as this goes up the pyramid. Security, stability, still psychological, love, belonging, esteem. As we're moving into love, belonging, esteem, and self-actualization or self-fulfillment, now we've got that sense of calling.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting that our definite need is really the deepest sense of what we need after we've had a job and worked for paychecks? Most of us move into the idea of, I need to turn this job into a career. We have
yeah,
job fairs for young people going into the workforce. We have career fairs for those that are wanting to turn their job into a career. No calling fairs. No, nobody's like, come with your career and learn how to turn that career into a calling. And that's the idea.
yeah,
I suppose with the hierarchy of needs, it's not as if you no longer need to make money. The job is still always going to be there. The career needs to be the next step to that. So that's always going to be there, right? Those are kind of the non-optional things. It is, however, optional whether you work and live with or without a sense of calling. The
yeah,
longer you work a career in a job without a sense of calling, the more you're going to find yourself with a sense of not being fulfilled, not feeling whole and complete, not feeling that your contribution is impactful and matters. But the calling piece is not going to come necessarily from your employer, but it can come from a good mentor or a good leader in your life that can help you self actualize or self-aware, right? Within self-awareness. So the more you're able to learn about you, who am I, right? The questions you ask in your upcoming book, who am I? What do I want? Where am I headed? Who do I want to be when I get there? We're talking about that self-actualization, that deepest part of us that really wants to connect, you know?
Yeah.
Really wants to connect.
Yeah. It's as the pyramid is showing us, Ryan, the psychological aspect of really getting to that place of fulfillment, right? When we talk about the psychological aspect, to belong, right, in the workplace, a psychological definition to belong within the workplace is that I feel respected, accepted, and appreciated. Those three things, right? When I feel accepted, right, and I feel respected, when I feel appreciated, there's a connection. There's a love connection. There's a I belong. This leader, direct leader, right? My leader cares about me as a person, right? It's about people versus profit. I belong. I'm connected. The moment that you discover that, Ryan, that I believe is the foundation of what it takes to get to that place of fulfillment, right? If you don't have a place where you feel like you're accepted, respected, and really appreciated, it's really hard for me to find that place of fulfillment, right? I need to be somewhere I feel like I belong. I need to be in an atmosphere within the workplace culture where George matters, right? Not what George does, not what George brings to the table, but George, the human, the person, the man, the father, the husband, whatever. George belongs, you belong, you're connected. And I'm here more than just being a person that provides profit for the company. I am a person, period, right? I am a person. When I have that foundation where I belong and I feel connected, right? Respected, appreciated. And so when I'm there, that gives me everything that I need to take that leap. I'm here. Like I'm at that place. That is where you discover the journey of my purpose, the journey of my calling, right? I know what I'm passionate about, but what does that look like, right? When I don't have that respect, when I don't have that appreciation, it clouds the judgment of what I'm potentially able to do. Because deep down inside, Ryan, whether we like to admit it as not as human beings, like we're not created to be alone, right? We're created to connect. We're created. Our energy, our purpose has to be plugged in, connected, empowered beyond just ourselves. I can believe in something, but when Ryan believes in something that I believe in and he believes in me, the power that they gives me to take the next step to know that, hey, listen, I'm not on my own. Somebody believes in me. If I fail, I still have Ryan behind my back, right? I still have Ryan that has me along this journey. Having that support that I don't feel alone allows me then to take a step of faith into what I believe is my sense of fulfillment.
So what you're saying, and I agree. So, and I love that you bring this up because I think that is the step. I think the step to go beyond, not just go beyond, but to build off of, right? So I think of it in terms of you have job and career, that doesn't go away. But to discover, in the sense of realizing your calling, the step between job, career, and calling, there's examples of leadership and mentorship that give me a sense of belonging and respect and appreciation in that space. That is empowering to me to give me the space to be able to say, what about this person is different about them and their sense of calling and purpose in life? And how do I get some of that? Because leadership is contagious, man. When you get around really good leaders, you start becoming a better leader. That's just how it works, right? Because you have an example you can follow.
Yeah.
And I would say the main step is, do you have a mentor? Do you have a leader? Do you have someone in your life that's championing you? George, I think about the coaching that we do one-on-one with executives and also leaders. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, this is the opportunity we're talking about. You have your job, your career, but you still have that longing. You're not fully fulfilled. Maybe you don't love the work that you're doing, or maybe it's just not giving you that sense of connection and belonging. And you're saying, how do I take this to the next level? I would encourage you to reach out to us for some one-on-one coaching over a few months, providing you the opportunity to be accountable to action and to say, okay, I'm going to move in this direction, but I need to learn how. And in order to learn how, you've got to ask the right questions. In order to ask the right questions, you got to get answers from the right people. Seek out mentors and leaders in your life that have that sense of calling, that have that fire and passion for what they do, that you can see it on them. You know when someone's connected beyond a paycheck, right? Like there's not many people. I love that your book's coming out, because I think only 20% of employees fully trust the company that they work for, or the employers that they work for. There's a lack of trust because there's a lack of connection to purpose. Yeah. And when you find a leader, boss, manager, coach, whatever it is, mentor, that's connected to a sense of calling, their own sense of purpose, that right there becomes that spark, becomes that guide, that compass of, oh yeah, so-and-so is my mentor, so-and-so is my coach, and this is how they would respond. This is the example I see when they're going through difficult times. This is how they reconnect to their why when they're going through adversity at work or going through difficult times. All of those realities come into play. But if you don't have good leadership and someone championing you, I don't see how you get to the calling part, because you don't go from job, career to calling by yourself in a vacuum on your own. There's people along the way that unlock these doors, that open up, that's that self-actualization and realization and fulfillment that you start to fulfill. It's because you have other people in your life that have stepped in, or you've asked them to step in, that they're the example of what calling looks like. I don't think there's a better idea around how to get to your calling or how to realize your calling if you don't ever get involved in someone else's and serve and give and have a heart to care and live out that example of calling without necessarily initially feeling it, you know?
Yeah. It's that, I always use the analogy of this. Leadership is the difference between wearing an apron and a bib, right? Are you here to serve or be served? Bill Hybel, one of the quotes that he always said is that everyone wins when a leader gets better, right? And so when you're getting better, how do we get better? We get better when we're surrounded by people who are helping us grow to take to that next level. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard, and I want to say Craig Groeschel said this in his leadership podcast that he does, is that a leader, everyone would rather follow, and I'll say this correctly, everyone would rather follow a leader who is always real than one who is always right. Right. And so I love Ryan, because one thing that, if you don't know Ryan, or you don't have the honor to really know Ryan, the one thing that you know about Ryan is that he's real. Like his FUBU is real, his British Knights outfit is real, like his clothing wear.
My Carl Kanai.
Like it's real. Like
I got some old school Carl Kanai.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm connected to you not because you're always right, right? I'm connected to you despite our wrongs. But at the end of the day, you're real, right? And as leadership, you don't have to always be right, and you don't always have to be put on a pedestal. Leadership is just true, authentic. This is who I am. This is who I can be, right? Like I'm real with who I am. And so like when I think about leadership, and we're talking about that guiding us to that place of fulfillment, a leader is the one who sees more than others see, and who sees further than others see, and sees before others sees. That's a John Maxwell quote, right? It's what I see. It's not where I am, but it's what I see. I see my place at a place of fulfillment. I see my place in a place of a calling that is beyond the job, the career. It's what I do, but it's not who I am. It's what I do, right? And understanding that place.
And once you find a real leader, really follow them, you know?
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like learning from them, learn from their wrongs. That's part of following a leader, is not finding someone, to your point, that's got it all figured out and is right all the time. You know, a toxic leader isn't a leader that gets it wrong. A toxic leader is a leader that gets it wrong and doesn't take responsibility and the reality of the outcomes, right?
Yeah.
That's a toxic leader. A healthy leader is a leader that gets it wrong and says, I got it wrong.
Right.
You know, that's what being real is about. And I think once you find a real leader, learn from their mistakes, learn from what they do right, because they're going to be open, honest, transparent, vulnerable. And once you find someone like that, if they have that sense of calling, that again is really the key that we want to end with today. Is job, career, calling can all be a part of you can have a job where you're making money. You can have a career where you find a sense of connection and belonging with leadership and stability. And you actually can have a job, career, and a sense of calling, even where you work right now. You don't have to quit your career to find a calling.
Right.
Because you don't find a calling. You realize a calling as you continue to pursue it. And the way that you pursue a calling is you pursue a leader, mentor who is living their calling.
Yeah.
That piece is just everything. I remember a mentor of mine when I was 16, Pastor Bill Wilson. He used to have a pointy, bony finger that in his raspy voice. And he would look at us. I was 16 at the time. I was in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and he'd look at us, and he was mentoring us as a group. And he'd point his finger and he'd say, and he'd look at me. I remember one time he looked at me, he said, Ryan, the need is the call. I mean, when your mentor talks to you like that, you're 16, you're like, okay. The need is the call.
The need is the call.
Is the call.
Yeah.
And it changed me, because here you had a mentor that was living their calling. They understood it. They got it. And that piece of job, career, calling, so important. So anyway, George, anything else to add, man?
Hey, as always, a leader, a true leadership doesn't want anything from you. True leadership wants everything for you. That's how many.
And all leaders manage, but not all managers lead. We need leaders out there. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, it's been great. Hey, once again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here today on Champion Your Culture, sponsored by Culture of Good. We appreciate everybody out there. The special segment, the shit that happens in HR, as always. If you want to sponsor that, if you or your company wants to sponsor that, hey, holler at Ryan and I. You want to become a partner of Culture of Good or Champion Your Culture podcast. We would love to connect with you. Make sure you subscribe, you rate us, you like it. Click on the bell. Make sure you get a hold of us when we go live on your platform of choice, Spotify, Google, Apple. We're out there on all platforms, especially, of course, live on social media every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central. And if you're out on the West Coast, 7 a.m. And so we're live every Wednesday on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. We're here for you, and we appreciate everybody joining us each and every week. Those who are looking out for us, we appreciate you guys as well.
Yeah, and as always, we'll see you back next week on Champion Your Culture.